Hello, everybody, and welcome into the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series, live with the first race in the round of 12. And thank you all so much for tuning in here tonight. You're watching Austin Green on Ghost Racing Network. Well, we got a big race in store because the next two after this one are going to be pure chaos. So a lot of drivers looking to lock themselves into the round of 8, and it all starts here tonight. Before we get any further, let's get right down trackside and get into tonight's starting grid. Tyler Marble for Team Marble iRacing. He'll take the pole, puts down a 30.317. And look at this, good speed for Team Marble iRacing as his teammate Jeff Marble will take the outside pole. He rolls off in second. Jeffrey Souza back in the third spot. Austin Fitzgerald to his outside in fourth. And then it's going to be Michael Mueller in the 99 for Riot Motorsports. He'll start back in the fifth spot. Danny Gutierrez in sixth. Brian Conklin and Wesser Jr., pair of non-playoff drivers making up row number 4. And then it's going to be Quentin Clark in ninth with Jeff Shutt rounding out your top 10. Jacob Musso, he'll start back in 11th, and it's Tracy Powers to his outside, rounding out row number 6. Moving on back to row 7, it's Christian Losgen and Cody Matthews. Kyle Oakley starts 15th with Scott Glasso back in 16th. And then moving on back to the 17th spot, it's Jake Hickson for Dynamic Autosports. Kenneth Bartholomew to his outside in 18th. Taio Polito, GT Hawkins make up row number 10. Andrew Russo, Jared Bundy, 21st, 22nd. Then it's Brandon Saylor back in 23rd with Thomas O'Hara in 24th. Ryan Haynes back in 25th with Johnny Mahalchuk in 26th. Alan Bajari 27th with Jeff Barnes in 28th. Greg Bartlett 29th. Glenn Grigsby rounds out the top 30. The Canadian driver in the field, Mark Sabak 31st. Anthony Hanley 32nd. And Matthew Gearinger starts in 33rd. Looking at your race info, it's the Kansas Fall 200 here in the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. We mentioned opening race in the round of 12, 134 laps, 100% fuel, 4 sets of tires. No fast repair open setups, 3 green-white checkers. Kansas Motor Speedway just over a mile and a half in length. 85 outside, 35% humidity, clear skies, winds at 7 miles an hour, and track temp at 106 degrees starting. All right, here we go. 12 drivers remain in the fight for a championship. Green flag is in the air. We're underway at Kansas. Nearly 40 engines roaring to life for the first time here tonight at Kansas, and already away to an early lead. It's the pole sitter, Tyler Marble. He's able to pull just a little bit of a gap on his teammate, Jeff Marble, by the time they work down towards turn number 3. Here comes Jeffrey Souza, though, rolling up the inside, trying to draw even with Marble out of 4, and he will. Side by side for second. Meanwhile, they're single file for first and third on back. And this is where you got to get all your track position. We saw it in the real-life race, and we're going to see it here again tonight. Restarts are key, especially here at Kansas, where you can go, 3, 4, probably even 5 wide if you really want to try to make it work. And don't forget, that white line here does not set a boundary. This is not like Daytona or Talladega. You can go pretty much anywhere you want on this racetrack without it being considered out of bounds. And I mentioned that, right, as the 96 has a run. Watch for Souza. Is he going to go to the inside? Not yet. He's going to try to tuck in behind and catch a draft off the 48 of Tyler Marble. And it was a good run, but he didn't feel like it was good enough because he's going to stay tucked in line, applying the pressure to the 48. And, boy, you saw right there exactly what happens when you're too close to that car in front of you. He got a little bit tight in the middle of the corner. He had to get out of it just a little bit, but he's still sticking right there. I mean, I don't know if Souza is just on a bit of a different strategy or if he's got a car that's really just this much better than the 2 pole sitters, because right now he is going to pull clear of the lead. Jeffrey Souza now out to the point here at Kansas. And if you remember back to last year, boy, this was one of the tracks that really delivered in the racing aspect for the battles we saw, especially towards the end of the race. I would expect nothing less here tonight. Still kind of getting it together the further back you go, but for the most part, things are single filing out. There's Mark Sabak, who's already picked up a position from where he started this race at. Not one of your playoff drivers, but certainly catches your eye in the Michelob Ultra paint scheme for his Chevy Camaro. Jeff Barnes, he's also another driver up a spot from where he started this race at, and it's good to see Jeff in the field here tonight. We know that the driver out of McKenna is a part-time driver this season, but anytime Jeff's able to get out here, able to put down a pretty solid run. Back towards the front, here's a little bit of battling going on between a couple of the Riot Motorsports rookies and Dynamic Autosports. On the inside, it's the 99 Michael Mueller. There's Austin Fitzgerald trying to make something happen on the outside. Quentin Clark, he's got a little bit of run. We'll see if he can roll up to the outside of that 37. Meanwhile, up front, Jeffrey Souza took the lead, and now he is starting to slowly but surely try to work a gap between himself and Jeff Marble, who currently sits back in second. Tyler Marble has since fallen back to fourth, but I have a feeling this may be a little bit of tire saving from that 48 car. Trust me, you don't just come out of the gate with that much qualifying speed and then magically lose it this quick in the short run. Again, I have a feeling this 48, he knows something about this track that maybe some of these other leaders don't, and that is that you are going to need to save some tire if you still want to have speed at the end of one of these runs. By the way, did want to give a bit of a shout out to Roger Shelton, as we heard over the course of from last week to this week that he has rather joined a team. In fact, he's joined No Excuses Racing, so he will be racing with Jeff Shutt and Johnny Mahalchuk in future races, at least from here on out as we know of. So certainly good news there for Roger Shelton, joining a great team, as we know No Excuses Racing still has one of their drivers sitting in the playoffs with Jeff Shutt. Although Roger Shelton, of course, not in the field here tonight. Be looking forward to seeing him in the coming weeks. So as Jeffrey Souza continues to lead the way here with 8 of 134 laps complete, the field continues to try to sort it out. Further back, Brian Conklin now looking to the outside here of Fitzgerald and Michael Mueller. We'll see if the 37's got enough of a run. Not going to be enough that time. In fact, all it'll be enough for is just to stay in front of the 99, who had the challenge as they worked through the corner. Boy, Mueller is really applying the pressure, and you know, I think we expected, in all honesty, to kind of see a little bit more out of this 99 car last week at Bristol based off of what he had in the spring, but things just didn't quite work out the way maybe we had kind of envisioned for him. And so now that leaves him in a spot where, although he did advance to the round of 12, he's really going to have to keep his head down here and try to dig for a few more positions throughout these next couple races in terms of the playoff points standings if he wants to get himself locked in to the round of 8. And by the way, of course, we do have 2 rounds remaining in the playoffs. After this one, it'll move on to the round of 8 and then the round of 4, which will be the championship 4. And you do notice on the scoring tower, similar to the way we had it set up last week and the way it'll be set up going forward, all the drivers that are currently in the playoffs are highlighted in purple, and they have a P next to their name. Again, those are the round of 12 playoff drivers. Don't forget, as always, the drivers that have an R next to their name as well are rookies. And that always keeps it exciting to see just how many of the rookies that were able to make it into the playoffs this season. And then the other thing I did want to mention that we're kind of trying out, we did this a little bit last season, and I kind of liked it, so you can let me know what you think. But what we're doing is actually leaving the info of where the drivers finished on their driver info. So for example, Jeff Marble, currently he made it onto the round of 12, so you can see it right there next to, or rather in his driver card, says round of 12 next to the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Then we go back a few positions. In fact, we'll go back to Wesser Jr., who sits in 8th. He made it to the round of 16. Unfortunately, though, he did not advance to the round of 12. That's why you see there it says round of 16, but he is not highlighted in purple, as again, he did not make it to the round of 12. Boy, these top 2, I mean, just gapping it out over the rest of the field. Jeff Marble is trying to stay within the same zip code as Jeffrey Souza up front. Meanwhile, everybody else out back, they are trying to figure it out. That was a big moment there. Jacob Musso, did the 95 hold on? It looks like he did. That was a really close call getting down into turn 1, as it looked like the 95 of Musso had a big moment with this race car. Watch it here as they get into the corner. Ooh, just a little bit too sudden of a movement to the left with that wheel for that car's liking. Yeah, that thing got really jumpy quick. Good save by Jacob Musso to keep it together. Try to at least maintain some position from it. So still a lot of battle in here in the middle portions of the pack. In fact, they're going to go 3 wide. Michael Mueller on the inside of Wesser Jr., and it's Danny Gutierrez currently on the outside. Gutierrez will get clear, had the momentum up top. Now it's a battle between Mueller and Wesser Jr. Wesser Jr. is going to look up top. Gutierrez says, I don't think so, as the 08 washes up. The 12 is going to get stuck, and now, oh, Oakley into the wall. Kyle Oakley's going to get turned. Caution is out. First one of the night. And back-to-back weeks. A big mistake for the 17 of Kyle Oakley, and that's going to cost him early in this one. The other car involved was Wesser Jr. They got 3 wide, and we'll go back and look at it in just a moment, but watching the 17 roll away, see just how bad the damage is. We saw most of it there, it looked like on the right side. In fact, I don't believe he's got any on the left side. But either way, man, that's another tough break for Kyle Oakley. Things really didn't work out for him after he got that penalty last week at Bristol, but came into tonight at Kansas, still being able to sneak in with kind of a second chance here to make something happen. And as we just mentioned here, for Oakley, this is going to be a stinger here early on. He'll have to go in and pretty much try to fix about as much damage as he can and hope that that's enough to keep himself going. By the way, I mentioned Kyle Oakley is in this round. Now it says round of 16. Appears that his did not update when we set things up, but either way, he is one of the drivers still highlighted in purple on the left side of your screen. So let's go back and take a look at this one here. Now that everybody's caught the pace car and things have kind of winded down, it really all starts kind of with a checkup here out front with the 08 of Danny Gutierrez and then the 12 of Wesser Jr. He's kind of at the start of this whole thing, but then it's when Kyle Oakley comes along into the pictures where things start to really unravel here. Watch this. So you see kind of the stack up there. I'm not sure if Danny just got loose or got tight. Either way, that car got up the racetrack a little bit. Wesser Jr. had a big run. Now he's got nowhere to go. Jeff Shutt is rocking it through the middle here. He's going to get clear with no issues. Oakley's going to try to kind of do the same and just not enough room on corner exit right there for the both of them. As I think Oakley slides up here. No contact out back. Yeah, I think Oakley's just tight. Gets caught in all that dirty air, that turbulent air, if you will. Gets up the track. Wesser Jr. nowhere he can go. And then at this point, it's on 17. It's hooked into the fence, and then you can see where that safer barrier kind of pokes out. Maybe helping to kind of minimize the front-end damage for the 17, but still takes a couple of pretty good shots in the front and back of that race car. Give you a couple more views of it here. I want to go to the onboard first off here for Kyle Oakley, and let's just watch his steering wheel. This is going to give you pretty much all you need to know here. In fact, you might hear it too. See if it indeed sounds like he just gets tight here. Yeah, I don't know if he really gets, from that view, it doesn't look or sound like he necessarily gets tight. I think it's just a slight correction that he makes here. Watch it. He's trying to kind of drive this car straight. It just drifts up a little bit on him. And, I don't want to say I don't want to say he didn't maybe realize they were, 3 or 4 wide, because I think he did. I think the car just slightly drifts up more than he was expecting it to right there. And, like I said, for Wesser Jr., there's obviously nothing he can do at this point. He's not expecting the 17 to, come up into him. And right there when the contact occurs, just nothing he can do. But very, very lucky for both of these cars not come back down into the pack and collect a whole bunch of them. The way this initially started certainly looked like it might have been that way. But a nice job by both drivers, at least keeping it somewhat out of the way, all things considered. As we now go back live, there's the onboard view for Kyle Oakley. And he knows he's getting ready to have to dial it in now and turn it up a few notches. But he's still, again, got plenty of time. It's not like Bristol where if you go in to fix some damage, you're going to lose, 2 to 4 laps. As long as you're, not destroyed here, you can get most of it fixed, get back out on the track. And I would think with the damage that it appeared Kyle Oakley had, he was probably able to get it just about all fixed. And now he'll try to return to see if he can work his way back towards the front. So first caution of the night, and we're getting ready to go back green probably next time around. So it'll be about 19 laps complete when the green flag is back in the air. And up front, you've got Jeffrey Souza leading the way. Not a playoff driver, but still looking to steal a win here before the season is all said and done. Then it's Jeff Marble, who currently sits in second. Tyler Marble in third. Brian Conklin in fourth. And you've got Michael Mueller in fifth with Jeff Shutt in sixth. Quentin Clark back in seventh. Jacob Musso in eighth. Jared Bundy in ninth. And Christian Lashton rounding out your top 10. So I know we didn't really get a chance to go far enough to have a great idea yet, but I would have to assume in these cars at this track, the fuel window is probably somewhere, at about 100%, probably somewhere around 60, maybe 60 to 70 laps. That may be pushing it. I would say, I'm going to say anywhere from probably about 50, 57, 58 to probably about 66 laps, depending on how much you save. So we'll have to see here how far they can make it. But you figure, let's just say, let's call it somewhere where I think is realistically going to be the pit stop. Let's say 60 laps. They can make it 60 laps from now. They go till about lap 78. And then you make a pit stop, and you're good to make it to the finish from there. So this race may now have become a one-stop. And that means it's time to get even more aggressive here for this restart. Get ready to see who's going to come out on top. Again, if you're just tuning in, we certainly appreciate you being here. You're watching the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist on Ghost Racing Network. Green flag is back in the air. 19 laps complete. Jeffrey Souza gets going pretty well. He'll lead them all out of the trioval. Excuse me, I guess I should just say down the front straightaway into turn 1. As straightaway here at Kansas on the front. Not so much a trial, but more so kind of a curve all the way through and through. But nonetheless, the 96 will lead him off at 2. Now here comes the 48 of Tyler Marble. He's going to try it up on the high side. He's got a teammate up there. If he can stick even in the corners, he may get all the pushing he needs down the straights. And this is interesting because if you remember the last restart, it almost seemed like Souza was the aggressor and was able to take the lead the quickest. But boy, Tyler Marble got very, very aggressive on this restart. He wanted the lead, and he is going to take it here pretty quickly. If you remember back for Tyler Marble, what a round of 8 it was. Excuse me, a round of 16 it was, as he was able to win 2 of the 3 races. Just overall, I mean, what more could you ask for if you're a driver for the first round besides, you know, getting 2 wins, getting that momentum? And of course, he knows in this second round, he's kind of got a safety track in the Charlotte Roval, a track that he loves. He's been the best by a mile on road courses all year. In fact, he's won every road course we've been to so far this year. So if Tyler Marble can get a win here, I mean, that just makes it pretty much chasing a trophy at that point. But if he can't, still knows that he can fall back on the Charlotte Roval in just a couple weeks. Souza's going to get clear. How'd you like that move from the 96? Was able to get back by the 48. Now that he has reclaimed the lead, we'll see if he can try to stretch a little bit of a gap out as he did last time. Tyler Marble here. How hard is he going to race his teammate? Jeff Marble. Last time we saw that the 48 let the 15 by ultimately. We'll see if it's more of the same. Looks like Jeff Marble not going to be able to sneak around this time. He'll have to fade for now. There's the onboard shot of Jeff Marble. That car looking very stable, although what you did here right there was a lot of tire slide through the corner, and that's nothing Jeff's doing wrong. That's just what you're going to hear from a lot of these drivers. Kansas still pretty heavy on tire wear. Maybe not as bad as some of the tracks we've went to this season, but still certainly enough where you got to conserve, especially if you want to have some speed late in the runners. Caution's out. Trouble further back. Pajari in the grass. Alan Pajari's in the grass. Johnny Mahalchuk appears to have been involved as well. As yes, the 72 is in the grass now. Let's see, did he get any damage here? Just had hopped over to his driver cam, or was getting ready to, and noticed a lot of really quick wheel movements in the 72, or at least inside the cockpit rather. Figured there might have been an issue for the driver out of Fraser, Michigan, and it appears there was. So looks like he's got a little bit of left front damage there. You can see the quarter panel in the hood. Rather, the fender in the hood crumpled just a little bit. So let's go back and see what happened here to bring out the caution. Second one here tonight. And watch it from TV3 first. There's Johnny Mahalchuk way up the racetrack here. So this is all going to start with the 72. Again, watch him here as he works off a 4. Does that car get a little loose on him? No, it's the opposite. Maybe gets a little tight, gets into the wall, and then as he bounces off, Russo had nowhere to go, and he drives down into the 34 of Alan Pajari, making it really a 2-car incident. Didn't appear there was any more, although did see this with Scott Glasso. Not sure. Gotta assume this was maybe in part of avoiding this wreck. You see the 4 is going to dive through the grass. That's indeed what it was. Let's go back and watch this from the onboard shot here for Johnny Mahalchuk, and watch this car here. In fact, we'll go to the actual steering view, the cockpit, in just a second here and see if, I mean, you can hear it sliding, but my question was more so, did he really get that tight? Or was it a similar situation to Oakley where he's just trying to drive it straight out of the corner and misjudges it a little bit? No, that car maybe actually got a little bit loose, and then the correction, you know, when you're running that high kind of by the fence, the only problem with it is if you have to make a correction, you don't have that much room to chase it, and a little correction gets him into the wall, and then as he comes down, so he gets into the 34 there of Alan Pajari. Good news for Pajari is I don't think he got much, if any, damage there. Just had to take a little bit of a detour down the front stretch before he was able to merge back on track. Continue on his way. Give you a couple more angles of this one here. This is from TV1. There's a 34. Maybe a little bit of right front damage, actually, for Pajari, but that should be the brunt of it. Give you one more shot of this here from the blimp cam. And I mean, you know, when you're 3 wide off of turn 4 at Kansas here, you're not really thinking about that outside wall. You're thinking about trying to hold a steady wheel and not hit the guys on the inside of you here. And for what it's worth, and in fact, as I kind of look back at this view, the blimp cam, let's watch this from the rear chase. I wonder, did Russo maybe jog up the track a little bit as well here? See where the 88 is there. Yeah, so Mikulchuk definitely hits the wall and bounces off a bit, but I think at the same time, Andrew Russo was drifting up just a little bit in part as well right here. Watch the 88. You see him starting to slowly work up the racetrack right there. Look at the 88. I mean, he's definitely working up the racetrack, and honestly, if Johnny Mikulchuk doesn't hit the wall, I almost think maybe there's still some contact there. Either way, kind of second wreck that it looks like the parties involved are going to be able to get away okay. And so as we go back live now, this should definitely make this race a one-stopper, I would assume, from here. As we're going to go back green with about 28 of 134 laps complete. Jeffrey Souza still the leader. As you got Tyler Marble in second, Jeff Marble third. And then it's Brian Coughlin in fourth with Michael Mueller fifth. Jared Bundy in sixth, Quentin Clark in seventh. And it's Jeff Shutt back in eighth, Jake Hickson in ninth, and Jacob Musso currently rounding out your top 10. Well, we mentioned Jeff Shutt currently sitting back in the ninth spot. And one of the No Excuses Racing drivers who's looking to go all the way to the championship for this season. He currently finds himself, again, in that eighth position, up two from where he started. And he'll be looking for more here over the course of this restart and the majority of this next run as we move things a little bit further back to one of the drivers who almost was able to get the job done last week. Didn't quite work out. And that is Christian Lostin. Christian, maybe not as much of a fan of Kansas as he is the shorter tracks like Bristol, but the 7 has been on a pretty good tear lately. He's got some work to do, though, here tonight, as right now he's actually down 11 positions from where he started this race at. And last but certainly not least for BMP Racing, it's Ryan Haynes, driver of the number 39 machine, as neither him nor his teammate Brett Spod were able to make a playoff berth this season. And just a lot of kind of background things going on for this team and BMP in general that just kind of didn't let it work out for him. I mean, you think about all the issues they had, from DNQs to, more importantly, some of the technical issues, especially for Ryan Haynes. I mean, times where he was having great races and had either internet struggles or something of the sort, and then the races there weren't internet struggles that he had going good, something happened that got him trapped either early or late in a lap down position that he just couldn't quite crawl out of. So for Ryan Haynes, I think it's all about trying to get this season on the right track to set himself up for next season. We'll see if he can make it happen. And again, we still have a couple racetracks too on the schedule, most notably the one that we're going to head to next week, which we'll mention a little bit. Actually, we'll mention it now and in a little bit, and that's Talladega Super Speedway, that a lot of drivers, playoff and non-playoff drivers, are kind of circling as that last chance track for them to get their win for this season. So we'll see who it works out for next week, but first we got to find out who it's going to work out for this week. Here we go, back into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air for Jeffrey Souza. And the 96 gets a pretty good restart. The 48 of Tyler Marble is quickly going to try to line it up on his outside as they dive off into turn number 1. The 96 of Souza is going to be able to get clear the 48. Maybe no. Jeff Marble on the bottom coming with a push for the 96, but he'll slot up to try to help his teammate instead. And how about that? Tyler Marble, he'll get clear on the entry to 3, but he's going to stay up. The 48 decides he doesn't want to go down. Likes that high side, and here at Kansas, you can make it work, especially if the track temp's hot enough. That high side is going to be the preferred lane. And I think we'll see that really kind of become the preferred lane here as the afternoon progresses. At least in sim, that is. Track temp maybe goes up a little bit, but more importantly, the tires start to wear out. You see it there, still 106 degrees is the track temp. And in fact, let's hop on board here for a lap around Kansas Speedway with your current leader, Tyler Marble. In fact, we'll drop a spot back here to Jeff Marble as he'll have the influence of the draft down the straight. We'll see just how fast these cars get up to. Well, that's going to scrub off some speed. Boy, that was a big catch right there from the 15. Jeff Marble coming off of 4, but you see almost 190 miles an hour as they work off into turn number 1. And all that speed means you either got to dive it down to the bottom and really let off to wrap the white line, or you try to carry the momentum up top. Boy, the wall here, it is fast, but it is dangerous. You get just a little bit too comfortable. You overshoot that cushion just a little bit. I mean, look how close Jeff Marble's already getting to the wall. I mean, this is still early in the run. And point being, if you overshoot that that cushion that's giving you all that side force just a little bit, you get into the wall here, and it is really, really tough to get out of it. All right, so as we move a little bit further back now, still plenty of side-by-side action throughout the field. Souza and Jared Bundy Right now, they're 2x2 trying to sort things out. And Souza falling back to 4th here. A little bit of a surprise, but the 96 maybe trying to recover here a little bit as he's going to get back around the 3. And now he'll set his sights on the 37 of Brian Conklin. Souza with a big run off of 4. Is he going to take it here? He's going to look to the outside. Will Conklin give it to him? Souza's there. Look at this. The 96. He's going to be able to grab that spot as now they're going to go 3 wide into the corner. Jared Bundy, one of the playoff drivers and the only playoff driver out of those 3, saw that and said, yeah, I don't think so. Maybe a little too early for me, as he bailed out of that. Problem is, look at all the momentum he loses now from it, as here comes Michael Mueller, and don't look too far back. You've got the 74 of Austin Fitzgerald and the 00 of Quentin Clark in tow, as well as Jeff Shutt. Currently rides up top. Brandon Saylor's there. And then there's the 16 of Jake Hickson, along with a few other drivers. They're trying to crawl their way back to the front here, as we are now just about to be 34 of 134 laps complete in this race. And we talked about definitely not one of the longest races of the season, but still a little bit of an endurance one, especially when you know that you still have to make that green flag stop, assuming that we can make it to that point under green anyway. And that would be probably somewhere in the 80s in terms of lap count before we're going to see that pit stop be made. Now, you can pit a little bit sooner. Again, the estimate we had is that that fuel window should open probably right around 60 laps or so to go. That'll be right around when they get to lap 75. So we'll see if anybody decides to pit early, or if they all decide to stay out and pit as late as they can. Still 2x2. This is the battle for the 8th spot. Actually make the 7th spot here. Jeff Shutt trying to challenge Jared Bundy. Wes Hurd Jr. in the mix. Good recovery for the driver, the number 12, after having that issue and being part of that first caution. Him and Kyle Oakley were the 2 parties involved in that one. And speaking of Kyle Oakley, currently sits back in the 25th position. And on your scoring tower there on the left, you can see he's not a lap down. But that certainly is showing you just how hard it is to get through traffic, whether it's lap cars or leaders. Kyle Oakley right now really trying to get back to the front, but so far just no luck. Kenneth Bartholomew in the 73, another one of the rookies who was able to make a playoff appearance in his first season. Unfortunately, though, he was able to go no further than the round of 16. Got eliminated after last week and had a couple opportunities, but it seemed like every time the door started to open, somebody's mess slammed it shut for the 73 of Bartholomew. Nonetheless, heading to Talladega next week, and if we talk about guys that seem to have a knack for super speedway racing, then Kenneth Bartholomew has to go in the top 5 of that list. See how it pans out for him here tonight. And since we're on the topic of rookies and rookies that have been so impressive this season, let's stop at another one of the non-playoff rookies, and that is GT Hawkins, who currently sits in 19th. He's up a position from where he started this race at. But remember what he did in the All-Star race. Remember what he's done since is, that time there doesn't want you to remember that one, as he got into the outside wall. And that's a big loss of momentum. It's going to cost him probably anywhere between 2 and 5 spots here, as now Bartholomew is going to march by. Johnny Mahalchuk, he's going to try to take advantage as well. And it looks like he will, and maybe not, just the 73 for now. Hawkins able to fend off the 72. So nicely done right there. It's going to be 39 of 134 laps complete. We cross the line this next time. We're going to take our first break of the night. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us as Tyler Marble leads here at Kansas. Welcome back to Kansas Speedway for the Kansas Fall 200, the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Making a stop here tonight at one of the few remaining mile and a halves in the playoffs. Is just as I mentioned it, there's some trouble here further back for, looks like Jeff Shutt. May have took a bit of a detour here through the grass down the front stretch. Looks like that very well may have indeed been the case here for the 27. He'll get back up to speed here, no caution. Yeah, you can see, oh, well, just as I say that, caution is out here. Trouble for a different incident here a little bit further up. Oh, we got two in the wall. Oh, man, it's Kyle Oakley again. 17 of Kyle Oakley. That day goes worse now for the 17. Second incident of the night. As I was trying to figure out some of the other drivers involved, looks like Greg Bartlett may have been in it. In the 77, nope, take that back. That was not Greg Bartlett. Was that Matthew Geary? No, Tracy Powers. That's who that was. You saw the hand go up there for Kyle Oakley. He's saying, man, give me a break. As there's the damage for the 25. He's got some on the left front there. Trying to figure out if the suspension is maybe messed up on this car as well. Yeah, it is big time. Look how far to the right it is. Wonder if that means that it's some damage that we didn't see that's on the right front. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. This thing is doing a little bit of a crab walk there. You can see that right front suspension. That is no good for Tracy Powers. He's going to have to go in and get that fixed. So before we had the caution, just before, this was the incident here for Jeff Shutt. That sends him through the grasses. Big moment, and then, oh, yeah, he gets loose. Right as he's getting off the corner, he gets loose, and at the same exact time, Jake Hickson has a big run. The 16 is getting ready to go to the inside as the 27 gets loose. Jeff Shutt starts to go down the racetrack, and I think Jeff actually drives out of that one if the 16 isn't there. But again, the problem is the 16 of Hickson is right there getting ready to make a move. So as the 27 gets loose, starts to slow up, the 16 runs into the back of him. I mean, nothing Hickson can do, and that's what ultimately sent Jeff Shutt through the grass, and then the actual caution itself. See what happens here is I believe this starts with Cody Matthews. Does he just get loose here? He's getting loose. He's getting loose. Oakley gives him a shot, and then back up he goes. That's a big hit for the 10. I think Oakley's going to get kind of a second piece of it there as they went out of frame. We'll look at that in just a moment, but here you go. I want to give you another angle of this. Watch it from slow-mo. Man, that's a big hit for Cody Matthews. And then right here, see Powers and Oakley going to get together, and I don't like the look of that turn for Oakley. Well, he did lock it down. Boy, very, very lucky for the 17 right there. Most of his momentum was still going sideways and hadn't quite translated to going to the right yet. And was able to keep it out of that outside wall. So good save for Oakley. So even though it sucks for the track position loss, for a playoff driver, that's a lot better than what it could have been, as Oakley was indeed the only playoff driver involved in this. But let's watch this back from the chopper view here and see if... I got to think the 10 had an issue here for Oakley to have that big of a run on him. Yeah, that's what it looks like here. Cody Matthews just... It's a little bit out of shape. And watch. He's going to correct. And then Oakley's trying to give him a little push to help him. Fortunately, the push doesn't seem to help him there, though. It just kind of turns him. And for Tracy Powers, seems like he may have got the worst of this one. Took a couple of pretty good shots there. And ultimately ended up coming to a halt for the inside safer barrier. Watch this again. There's the big hit that knocks the suspension out of shape for the 25. And oh, he got tagged again by GT Hawkins. I didn't even see that second hit for Tracy Powers. So I'm sure that did even more damage. So that race car is certainly worse for wear. As we go back up front, Kenneth Bartholomew, currently being scored as your leader, is now Strategy starts to slowly but surely work its way into the mix. Mark Sabat currently being scored in second, and Kyle Oakley playing the strategy call. He will now be sitting in third. And then you've got Tyler Marble back in fourth, Jeff Marbles in fifth, Austin Fitzgerald back in sixth, Wesser Jr. seventh, Christian Lodgson in eighth with Jeffrey Souza in ninth, and Jared Bundy currently rounding out your top 10. Still a good ways from the halfway point here in tonight's action. That'll be right around lap 67. So if you're just tuning in, we certainly appreciate you being here. Again, you are watching the Kansas Fall 200 for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series first race in the round of 12. As we've already had quite a bit of action here tonight and 3 cautions to go along with it. And cautions have a tendency to breed cautions, especially as you get further and further on in a race. But now that we've got a little bit of a shuffle up front, it's going to be really interesting to see who can hold it here and who can't. As you've got guys on fresher tires versus guys on slightly older tires. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. All right, so as the pace car now makes its way into turn 3, we'll watch for him to make the left turn down to the pits. And that would put the field, back in the hands of Kenneth Bartholomew and Mark Zabak. First front row start of the race here for Bartholomew and Mark Zabak. Got to make sure you get through the gears good here. Otherwise, this could cause a big-time stack-up. All right, here we go. Back into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air, and boy, that was an interesting restart there. Not sure if the 9 realized he was going to have a jump and then backed up, but Kenneth Bartholomew, he'll get out to a massive lead before they get off into turn number 1. Mark Zabak trying to now get it back together after that brief slip-up. Looks like he does, but Bartholomew got all he needed right there. And now the question is, how quickly can everybody else get to the front? Kyle Oakley's going to try to slot in line here behind the 48 of Tyler Marble. Now he'll jump to the inside to try to fend off the 15 of Jeff Marble. That's going to be a tough job because of 15 on fresher stuff. And he's got a heck of a run. You're going to see a couple drivers dive all the way down to the grass, getting below that white line, utilizing the entirety of this racetrack. Is now 3 wide, 2 rows deep into turn number 1, and almost some contact. Now there is some contact. Oakley, more contact, and 17 is going to go around again. Kyle Oakley's going to go back up the track into the wall. Caution is out, and he gets hit at the end of it. And that last hit, oh man, this time it is terminal. Suspension damage for the 17. Kyle Oakley now has been involved in 3 of the 4 cautions here tonight. And seemed like survived all of them pretty well, except for this one. All right, let's go back and take a look at it here. See how it started. The 17 certainly got a little bit loose here. Or excuse me, not loose. Certainly got... He had something go wrong here as they got into the corner. At least from the initial shot. Let's see if that's still the case here. Watch the 17 in the middle of the racetrack here. He's 3 wide on slightly older stuff. And then, I say slightly older, right there. He's drifting up just a little bit here. And at the same time, I mean, Fitzgerald might be coming down a bit. Yeah, I think Fitzgerald is coming down a little bit. You see the 74 was probably about a quarter of a lane up off the seam, and then by the time they make contact, the 74 is almost down to the seam. So definitely the 74 coming down a little bit, but overall here, 17 of Oakley is... I think he's drifting up a little bit. I guess we can try to get this from another angle one more time. So watch his left side tires. I know it's hard to see, but try to reference them with the white line that you see right here. So right there... And let's see where he ends up here, right before the contact. About at the seam. And now he's pretty much... Yeah, so Oakley's definitely shifting up a little bit there. And I don't think that's just a result of, again, not having quite as good a handling as everybody else right now. Let's hop on the onboard view. And let's see here is... He's trying to get the car to turn. Yeah, it just gets tight on him. Just gets tight, and then after that contact here, he's just trying to gather it back up, but he's got a whole herd behind him, and they're all hungry to get to the front, and... Just, he's never really has a chance to catch it once he gets hit by Bundy, then by Souza, and that one turns him around. And of course, Souza got hit by Saylor, and then wrecks on from there, and here's a big shot right at the end of it. Kinda kicking the horse while it's down with that last hit right there for Kyle Oakley. Man, watch it again here. This view from TV1. There's the first big hit. This is going to be the second big hit into the outside wall. And it's not over yet. He's going to get hit once more here by the 31 of Matthew Gearinger, who just committed to the outside and couldn't quite get checked up in time. 17 of Oakley. Again, you got to understand the frustration here tonight. Boy, things are just not going his way. Give you one more angle that's here from the blimp cam. As again, another wreck, though, where I know we had quite a few involved with some minor hits, but could have been a lot worse. Granted, where it happened at relative to the rest of the pack, but most people survived that one, so yet again, we'll try this again. 4th caution of the night here in just 53 of the 134 laps complete. And I was looking here up front. Actually, it's going to be, yep, sure enough, Tyler Marble leading the way. Nope, Kenneth Bartholomew, take that back. Tyler Marble, the highest running playoff driver in the field right now. Then you've got Jeff Marble in third, Wesser Jr. in fourth, and Austin Fitzgerald currently rounding out your top 5. As for drivers who have had to unfortunately retire from this race or have since gone a lap down, you can see Russo has fallen a lap down. Kyle Oakley still in the pits. You know, he's fallen at least one, probably going to fall multiple laps down. And then Tracy Powers, GT Hawkins, Glenn Grigsby, and Anthony Hanley have all retired from this race due to one issue or another. Of course, Anthony Hanley never actually started the race. All right, so we'll see. The light's going to go off on the pace car this time. I would assume so. And if they do, that means we'll grab the 1-to-go signal. Get ready to try to run it again. All this keeps really doing is setting it up so that really everybody who was... Well, I don't know. I was going to say the drivers who had just pit. I think this helps them out. But if you're one of the drivers who decided to wait and then you pit now, then that could help as well. Either way, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how things pan out here. All right. Looks like the lights are off, so that means that we will be going back green this time around. And up front, again, leading the way, Kenneth Bartholomew, the rookie who got eliminated in the last round of the playoffs. Looking to see if he can get back on top here tonight. Looking for that first win of the season. Came close a few times, especially at some of the super speedways. And in fairness to Kenneth, one of the drivers that we talked about, this being a rookie season for him, and he doesn't have any teammates, right? So that makes things a lot harder. I'm sure he's got guys that he works with by now, but still, the point is, for the 73 to have fought as long as he did and still fighting at this point. By the way, how about that Halloween scheme? That's right, tomorrow's October 1st. So he's getting in the season. See if that's a little bit of change of luck here for the 73. Going to be just a few laps, rather going to be just over 10 laps, I guess I should say, away from halfway. Once we go back green, it'll be, in fact, looks like 12 to 13 officially before we will hit the halfway point. Green flag is back in the air, and it's a good restart for 48 of Tyler Marble. He's able to match the 73 really well this time. Outside stacked up, and that means a big push for the leader. Tyler Marble trying to get clear, but he's not going to be able to do it. He'll have to stay side by side with Kenneth Bartholomew for now. The 73 looking to stay even with the 48 off of 2, but he will not be able to do it. Tyler Marble's going to jump clear. Kenneth Bartholomew was not able to take it in time, and now Wesser Jr. was able to sneak to his outside. For Wesser Jr. here, he's going to have a big run on this high side here. It's going to be enough to get clear the 73. Is it enough to set up a move here on the 48? Not yet. Tyler Marble diving it down just about to the apron to maintain that speed, maintain the shorter way around. Wesser Jr., he's going to stay committed to this high side. And boy, look at the run he had there through the corner. He got ahead of the 48 before they even got to the center of the corner. That allows Wesser Jr. to now take the point. Tyler Marble gets shuffled back to second. Christian Lodgson, boy, where did he come from? He's now up to third and up 10 positions from where he started this race at. 2x2 further back, battling for 10th on back is where it gets the most fierce right now, though, as they've got 3 wide. Tai Iopolito quickly jumps out of that. He'll go back down to 2x2. Almost 3 wide, though, just in front there is the 00 of Quentin Clark. Trying to get even here. He's going to look to the middle. Bartholomew stuck on the inside. Brandon Saylor stuck on the outside. And now Iopolito gives a shot to Bartholomew, who is going in the wrong direction here in a pretty quick hurry. And for Kenneth Bartholomew here, track position strategy doesn't look like it's going to work out too well, at least not as of yet, for this 73 team. As the field roars by the start-finish line, that is 58 of 134 laps complete. And by the way, that next pit stop, with when we went back green, it can get pushed out pretty far now, potentially to over the lap 100 mark. So it really starts to make the strategy more of a question of when do you go in for that final stop? You can go in probably as soon as lap 74, but I almost think now with the fuel mileage they can make, why would you come in that early? Go a little bit later and be able to be on full attack mode on that set of tires you take after that final green flag stop. So up front, Wesser Jr. trying to make a gap here on second place Christian Lodgson. You got 1 run in the bottom, 1 run in the top. And then further back, Austin Fitzgerald. A little surprising tonight here that the 74 has not been, we haven't been calling his name more. We're used to seeing him running pretty much in the top 4 in just about every track we go to. But again, that is not the case, at least not here tonight for Fitzgerald. He currently sits in that 7th spot. He's down 3 from where he started. He's got some work to do, but at the same time, the argument for the 74, I think, has got to be, well, we haven't had a chance to go on a long run, so really, he hasn't had a chance to show what kind of speed he's got on the long run yet. Still plenty of time, though, to change that and see just who does have the best long run car here tonight. As a little bit further back, there's the 39 of Ryan Haynes. He's looking to the outside here of Jake Hickson and Quentin Clark. Clark going to dive it back in deep here. Jared Bundy runs currently just in front of him. Bundy, another one of the drivers who loves 1.5 miles. He got it done on 1.5 miles earlier this season to get himself locked into the playoffs, and then almost did it a second time back-to-back right after that, where he was, of course, kind of, I hate to use the word robbed, but really it's kind of what it was with the way things worked out at Charlotte. We knew it was going to either be him or GT Hawkins that was going to get the win. Unfortunately, we never got to see the full battle kind of play out after a few lap cars kind of sparked an incident that collected those two leaders. Point is, though, Jared Bundy, keep an eye on him here. He's got himself in a good spot. And again, still plenty of racing to go. Back up front, change of lead. As the battle for the lead is still on, though. Wesser Jr. not going to give it up to Lostjen that easy. The 12 on the outside, hoping that he can hold the momentum. Lostjen with the shorter way around, going to try to dive clear in one of these corners. And he's not quite going to be able to do it that time, so he'll have to slot back up behind the 12 of Wesser Jr. And, I mean, if you're Wesser Jr. here, you got nothing to lose. You're out of the playoffs. You're still looking to see if you can grab another win on the season. And so he's going to race any of these guys as hard as he can, but especially Lostjen, who's a rookie and a driver who's not in the playoffs. Boy, what a great battle these two are having right now. We talked earlier about Christian maybe not feeling his confidence here at a track like Kansas as he did at Bristol, but boy, he certainly looks pretty confident right now as, man, caution is out. More trouble again, as this time it's the 27 of Jeff Shutt. And one more, it's going to be the 34 of Alan Pajari, who's got heavy damage from this one. Jeff Shutt looks like he will be able to get back rolling here. 34 was not, though, and that's why he had to make it to the pit stall. Let's take a look at it here as this contact occurred coming across the start-finish line, but I have a feeling that's not where it started, and yeah, sure enough, it's not. This is further back here coming off of turn 4. So Jeff Shutt and Pajari, looks like, at least from this perspective, had been kind of making a little bit of contact with each other through 3 and 4. You see there's Jeff Shutt on the bottom. There's Pajari Rock in the middle. And Jeff Shutt runs really close to the 95. You wonder if he gets in a little bit of dirty air. Car starts to get tight. Gets up the track and into Alan Pajari. Now that 34 gets shot up the racetrack a little bit. And then right here, they're going to make another secondary contact. And then right there, 34 gets into Jeff Shutt. And that's the one that kind of does it for both of them, as heavy hit to the outside wall for Pajari. Jeff Shutt takes a pretty good shot as well. And then Kenneth Bartholomew, the innocent victim, fortunately gets collected in this one as well. Let's go back and watch this here from TV3, see if this gives any better angle here on the way this contact started versus the way it kind of ended here. So watch as they get into the corner. Watch the 27. Gets in the dirty air, shallow entry, gets a little bit tight, slight contact, and then right there, some more slight contact, another contact, and then there's the contact that ultimately took them both out. As I think Jeff Shutt will be able to continue. Alan Pajari, not sure some of the hits he took. Let's watch the onboard view of this here for Jeff Shutt. Watch this here. Gets a little tight. There's the first contact. There's the second contact. And unfortunately, there's the third contact. And you see for Jeff Shutt, I mean, the wheel input tells you all you need to know. He was not trying to make any contact there with Pajari. He was trying to hold a nice steady line, hoping that Pajari would be able to gather it up. And unfortunately, it just wasn't the case here. And for Pajari, kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. Watch how loose he is here. Just trying to drive out of it here and just unfortunately gets kind of past that traction point when he does. Car starts to go around on him, and the first thing to catch him was the 27 of Jeff Shutt. So he'll get it back rolling here. At least it appears he will, as Pajari had to take it to the pits. So as we go back live now, up front, leading the way is Wesser Jr. Christian Lostjen's in second. Tyler Marble back in third. You've got Jeff Marble in fourth. Brandon Saylor in fifth. Austin Fitzgerald sixth with Michael Mueller in seventh. Jared Bundy back in eighth. Quentin Clark in ninth. And Ty Iopolito currently rounding out your top 10. It looks like when we go back green here, we'll officially mark the halfway point in this 200-mile event. Definitely a little bit of a longer race than maybe had initially expected here, at least most of the drivers maybe initially expected. And I think that's obviously due in part to the fact that we've had 5 cautions through 66 laps so far. What this might do, well, not yet. I don't think they're quite in that fuel window yet, but it's certainly getting close. In fact, if we have another caution pretty much at any point from here on out, then I think it becomes a question of now who pits to become good on fuel, thinks they can make it. Now, of course, depending on when we get that next caution, if we get that next caution, and if we don't, boy, that makes the strategy a lot more questionable on, do you run it out and just take a splash of fuel, no tires? Do you pit super early, take another set of fresh tires, then maybe have something to march the guys on older tires down later? That's going to be the big question, the big ask, as we did not get the one to go signal that time, by the way, so we will go ahead and wait to try it again here. As Wes Hurd Jr. continues to lead the front of the field here. And so, you know, for Wes Hurd Jr., I know we mentioned him a couple times, but I'm looking back a few rows once they line up here to the rookie for Team Marble iRacing. That's Brandon Saylor. Saw two of his teammates make it to the playoffs, and realistically, it could have been 3 or 4. I mean, pretty much all of Team Marble iRacing has had good runs this season. But unfortunately, the 24 has yet to kind of cap off that first win, at least of this season. Brian Conklin not able to do so either as well. And so it leaves just kind of the 48 and the 12. 15 rather, the 48 and the 15 as the two lone cars in a playoff for their team. And then Austin Fitzgerald talked about teammates in the playoffs. He's got a couple of them. Tai Iopolito, of course, Jake Hickson, the two rookies on his team. Alan Bajari, again, not quite able to cap off any of the good runs he had to get himself locked in. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to advance to the playoffs as well. All right, so look at the scoring tower on your left. And notice, especially as it flips through here, the drivers that are a lap down. We're down to just 26 cars that are currently being scored on the lead lap. Kyle Oakley, by the way, 12 laps down. His night is pretty much officially over. At this point, he's out scrapping for points and hoping that any of the playoff drivers can wreck and wreck bad here soon. That would allow that 17 to potentially collect some points if anybody else went more than 12 laps down. But here we go. Pace car going to make that left turn down to the pits yet again. A pit stop still in question. Fuel not a concern, at least not as of yet. But the battle for the lead getting ready to be as fierce as it has been all race. Here we go. Green flag is back in the air for Wes Hurd Jr. And it's a good restart for the 12 and a good restart for the 7. Christian Lodgton as well. He's getting some help here from the 15 of Jeff Marble. All that help, but it's not going to be enough to draw the 7 back even with the 12 through 1 and 2. Watch for Tyler Marble to get clear, and if he does, watch for that 48 car to try to jump to the top of the racetrack. He's not going to have to do it, though. The 12 of Wes Hurd Jr. is going to go to the top, where he'll receive a push from Christian Lodgton. Jeff Marble immediately saw that and quickly jumped down to the aid of his teammate. Tyler Marble trying a bit of a slide job here. Is he going to be able to get clear off of 4? No, he will not. He's going to have to settle for that second spot. Remember, each lap that this 48 car gets trapped, he is burning more and more tire, and it seemed like he was kind of playing it conservative and saving some tire earlier. So we'll see if he does more of the same right here, if he decides to try to keep it extra aggressive. As it's going to be 70 of 134 laps complete when they cross the line at this time, and that means it's going to officially be 65 laps to go here at Kansas. Listening to the sound of the cars for just a moment as, man, these cars, especially at the 1.5 mile, sound so good. And, you know, right now with the pack racing we've seen tonight, I mean, we kind of expected to see the multiple lanes working for different drivers. I feel like we got that. And to see this much racing with this track temp, I don't know if we expected to see it at this point in the race, but that's certainly another thing we've got. Remind you, that track temp was 106 to start this race. In fact, it's actually cooled 2 degrees. That may be playing just a little bit of a factor in why we've seen the racing pick up just a little bit. And that's because, remember, as track temp goes down, grip levels go up. Wes Hurd Jr. still on the point. Christian Lodgton, though, trying to take away that second spot from the 48 of Tyler Marble. He will be able to do so. That's going to now change up your top 3. Jeff Marble still creeping inside the top 5, trying to work with his teammate here. Tyler Marble, he's got a teammate behind him as well, and Brandon Saylor. For Jeff Marble, that's another driver who would like to win, get himself locked in, and not have to worry about it next week at the chaotic Talladega Superspeedway, and certainly not have to worry about it at the Charlotte Roval, a track where you know you're probably not going to get any cautions, and a track where you know that if you are not one of the best, you're going to get left behind pretty quickly. Tyler Marble still slotted into that 3rd spot. The 48, though, fading just a little bit here. Again, not sure if this is by design or if it's just the short run speed, maybe not quite there for Tyler Marble, at least not as of right now. So as he slides back up, you see him start to single file out further back. As they do so, we're going to take another break. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Kansas. Welcome back to Kansas Speedway, and you saw it all while we were side by side, and now the battle for the lead continues to heat up. Jeff Marble took a few peaks, couldn't quite make it happen as of yet, but that 15 car, he is still trying to get around the 12 of Wes Hurd Jr. And again, notice on your scoring tower the amount of drivers in the playoffs that are currently in the top 10. Jeff Marble, Tyler Marble, Jared Bundy, Michael Mueller, Quentin Clark, Austin Fitzgerald, and Jay Kickson. Only a few of them that are not in the top 10 right now. Tayo Polito still with a solid run, though, as he sits in 12th. The drivers without a good run so far. Kyle Oakley, bad news after getting involved in those 3 wrecks, as right now he sits last of all the playoff drivers. Scott Glassow and a few others in the playoffs still looking to see if they can improve their run as well as we get closer and closer towards the end of this race. 80 of 134 complete. That means that we are at 55 laps to go. Still a pit stop, though, most likely awaiting these drivers. The math we had was that they can make it, and you know what? I'll stretch it. I'll even say that they can make it somewhere from 60 to 70 laps. I just don't know. I think it was kind of close, but I still would expect a pit stop, at least at some point. Now, while the drivers continue to battle it out up front, I do want to take you side by side to show you what the playoff points were looking like coming into this race. And again, the drivers that you see in orange were eliminated, or I guess I should say eliminated in the transition. As there you go, look on the right, pass for the lead. Jeff Marble's going to get around Wes Hurd Jr. Wes Hurd Jr. broke the cushion, got into the wall. And new leader out in front, it's Jeff Marble. Now Tyler is going to try to take the lead away from his dad and teammate. We'll see if he can get it right here. The 48 slides up the track, not going to be able to do it that time. So as they settle it back down, we'll turn our attention now back to the left side of the screen. Scott Glasso right now, the last driver above that cut line to sneak in. But what you got to keep an eye on is the drivers that are 8th on up, because that's the next round of the playoffs. So right now, Jared Bundy is currently the last driver that would advance on to the round of 8. Jeff Shutt, Thomas O'Hara, Kyle Oakley, and Scott Glasso would be the 4 drivers to be eliminated. Kyle Oakley is going to have a lot of work to do after the way this race is going to end for him here tonight, as is Scott Glasso. And then we'll kind of keep an eye on the rest of the drivers. But for guys like Austin Fitzgerald, still looking really good to advance to the next round as long as he has decent finishes. Tyler Marble, Jeff Marble, you kind of expect them to as well. Quentin Clark, Jake Hickson, Taio Polito, I think those are honestly 3 pretty good picks as well. And then Michael Mueller, Jared Bundy, that's going to be a tight battle. Jeff Shutt, Thomas O'Hara, can those 2 do anything as they're sitting just below the cut line right now? That's what we'll have to wait to find out. And by the way, upcoming schedule, as a matter of fact, the remaining races that we have for the rest of the season here for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series are as follows. Next week, we're going to head to the last super speedway of the season, and that will be Talladega Super Speedway, 94 laps, 500 miles. That is going to be a fun one. Don't miss out on it. Then it's off to the Charlotte Roval for the final road course of the season. A lot of drivers probably not looking forward to that one, but I can tell you one that is. That's the man currently sitting in 2nd, Tyler Marble. So we know how good he has been at road courses all season. Then it's off to a 1.5 mile Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That'll be a fun one. Following up that is Homestead, Miami. And then it's off to Martinsville for the final race to determine the championship 4. And then Phoenix is the returning racetrack for your championship 4. And of course, that is, well, actually, I want to see, before I say that, yeah, sure enough, I was getting ready to say they've been there the last few years. For some reason, I thought maybe it was Miami a couple years back, but no, it has been indeed Phoenix for quite a few years now, probably coming up on over a handful. It was back when it was still the Gen 7 car, and now, of course, the next-gen car. And boy, I'll tell you what, the racing that we see at the 1.5 mile, oh, I heard spinning out back here. Might have just been a big slide. Yeah, it looks like everybody's okay. Well, that was a little bit of a nervous moment right there. Back up front we go, though. 86 of 134 laps complete, and what I was getting ready to say is the racing these next gens have provided has kind of been up and down in terms of some tracks not as good as it used to be in the Gen 7 cars, other tracks way better than it used to be in the Gen 7 cars, and I think Kansas is one of the ones that's kind of not changed really. We saw great racing in the old generation of cars. We see great racing now. The only difference is these cars a little bit more susceptible to when you get into dirty air. They have more downforce though, which means more speed. And boy, speaking of speed, Wesser Jr. continues to lose it here as he's gotten into the wall now a few times over the course of the last handful of laps. And for the driver, the number 12 here, starting to get that Herd Motorsports paint scheme scuffed up on the right side. And I think Wesser Jr. maybe just kind of overdoing it just a little bit right now as he's trying to kind of get back in that rhythm after losing a handful of positions. Remember, he was the leader not too long ago. And before he fell back to that 6th spot, which he currently runs now. And look to the inside. How about this move here? Ooh, I was getting ready to say the 12 Wesser Jr. trying to set up the 0-0 for corner exit. Certainly takes some bravery to do that one here. You're going to have to grab a side draft. But man, for Quentin Clark and Michael Mueller, this is all you can ask for as teammates when you have setups so similar that you're running pretty much bumper to bumper of each other. As Clark tries to catch up to the 99 and trying to hold off the 12 at the same time. And by the way, wanted to get some clarification, more so for the drivers. I know we talked about the scoring tower and the new setup and format of it this season, but I know Quentin Clark did mention that there, for the drivers at least, when we look at the grid and results, the P is not showing up next to all of the playoff drivers. And again, that's a glitch that I'm not really sure why it's doing that. I've set everything up where it should be, but for some reason, of course, it's not, so I apologize for that. But, of course, you get an idea of who's in it just based off the in-race scoring. So hopefully there's no confusion there. As we have now officially hit 45 laps to go here at Kansas. And Jeff Marble all of a sudden starts to slowly but surely set the sails here as Tyler Marble, his teammate, has fallen about 0.3 under a second back. And for Tyler Marble, who sits just behind, he's trying to fend off the 3 of Jared Bundy, who we talked about being good at 1.5 miles. Well, this is a big opportunity for Bundy right now if he can find his way up here into the top 2. At least before we get to this final green flag pit stop, he might have a chance to go for that 15 here, potentially try to steal a win. If you're just tuning in, again, I do want to say I appreciate you being here, or rather, if you've been tuning in, next place that we head here on Ghost Racing Network, at least for myself, will be next Monday. More of the Fast Track Sim Racing Cup Series, but don't miss out tomorrow night on Tuesday Night Thunder. That will be over on PGR Esports. Looking forward to that one. Here's going to be a challenge from the 99 of Michael Mueller, who's caught up to the back of the 3 of Jared Bundy. And this is slowly but surely now starting to work into a little bit of a longer run. That's kind of the first time we've seen that here tonight, at least to the point where we're going to really be able to tell who's got the most stuff for late in a run. Tyler Marble, after falling back to that 0.7 of a second kind of gap from his teammate Jeff Marble, has really not lost any more since. In fact, he's kind of hovering right around that 0.7 of a second gap. So we'll see if he can close it up here before the green flag pit stop. And if you're Jeff Marble, I wonder if that kind of bases your strategy here. Do you watch to see what that 48 does? If he starts to catch up, do you maybe just try, I don't know, to pit a little bit early? If he doesn't catch up, I would assume maybe you decide to pit last so that you've got the freshest stuff of everybody else. It's going to be an interesting call regardless. As we go further back, still a bit of a 4-way battle here. As this right now is the battle for that 7th spot. It'll now go down to a 3-way battle. Jake Hickson going to look to the inside here. The 12 of Wes Hurd Jr. Brandon Saylor, the rookie, there as well. Ty Iopolito trying to catch this group. It looks like he will. And then we've got another little pack. This is the battle for 12th. Andrew Russo in the 88 leads it. Bartholomew's there, as is Jacob Musso. And then the 14 of Jeff Barnes. By the way, Jeff Barnes up 13 positions where he started this race at. So still a great run going for Jeff Barnes. And then Brian Conklin, you see the front nose damage for the 37 kind of hindering his performance right now as he sits back in 17th. Down 10 spots from where he started after having a good qualifying effort in 7th. Matthew Gearinger got in a wreck earlier. Pretty good recovery, though, as he's now up to 18th, up 15 positions from where he started this race at. As we approach closer and closer to the lap 100 mark here tonight. Again, 200-mile race, 134 laps. We're closing in on kind of the final stretch of it, if you will. Jeff Marble still leading, but that gap, again, we talked about it, has not expanded anymore. Tyler Marble maybe utilizing that draft down the straightaways to hold even, and then far enough back to have enough clean air to kind of hold even in the turns as well. And here we go. Michael Mueller's going to look to the inside of Jared Bundy. This could be the battle for that 3rd spot. Quentin Clark's going to see it. He'll try to take advantage as he jumps to the high side of his teammate. Into turn 1, what will Quentin Clark do here? The 99 of Mueller still on the bottom, trying to get around the 3. He can't do it that time. Bundy's able to hold the momentum up top as Quentin Clark got into the wall, and whoa, boy, was that a close call. Austin Fitzgerald had a head of steam after the 00 got into the wall and almost wasn't able to turn out of the way in time. Watch this here from the onboard of Austin Fitzgerald. So as they get into the corner here, watch Quentin Clark. Gets in the corner, breaks that cushion, gets into the outside wall, and just talked about it. It's so hard to get out of it. He's just kind of stuck in it here, trying to get out. Finally does, and oh my goodness. That was so close to being another caution here tonight. Nice heads-up driving, though, by Fitzgerald to keep it off of Clark and keep both of those cars going in the right direction. Still no sign of a pit stop as of yet from any of the drivers up front. Jeff Marble continues to lead, and now some more contact further back as Mueller and Jared Bundy continue to duel it out for that 3rd spot. And we'll see if Jared Bundy is going to choose to try to stay high. Yes, he will. I was going to say, as he chooses to dive it in. Doesn't look like he dove it in as deep, at least not that time. As the 99 gets clear, will Bundy try to fight back to make a move, or will he stay in line? Looks like the 3 is content to stay in line as he gives a little shot to the 99 off into turn number 3. So Michael Mueller will slide up, take that final podium position for now. We'll see if the 99 can continue his charge forward. Meanwhile, the battle for 2nd now starting to close up a little bit. Rather, I guess I should say the battle for 1st, as 2nd place is starting to close up a little bit. That's Tyler Marble closing in on your leader, Jeff Marble. That, just as I say, it looks like he's actually going to lose another 10th. He got it down to about half a second, and now he's right back to just pretty much where it was. So no real gain there for Tyler Marble. Well, when he crosses the line right here, it'll be 100 of 134 laps complete. Still with a pit stop to go, but slowly and surely we are closing out on the end of this race. We're going to take another quick break. We'll be back. Stick with us on Ghost Racing Network. Welcome back to Kansas Speedway now. Just 30 laps to go. It's going to be actually, looks like 29 when they cross the line this next time here at Kansas. And right now up front, well, up front actually is going to be Jeffrey Souza, Mark Sabak, Greg Bartlett. But up front, when the pit stops cycle out, looks like it's going to be Jeff Marble. Because right now he sits in 10th. But the big thing here is Jared Bundy right now hanging with them and sitting pretty close to that 15 machine. We'll see here. Jared Bundy, though, big opportunity here if he can find a way to get around Jeff Marble. Starting to run out of time to do it, though. And then the other question is going to be the drivers who pitted a lap later. Do they have enough time to catch up? Tyler Marble was one of them. Right now he sits in 13th, but more importantly, the gap between him and Jeff Marble is just over a second and a half. So not too bad, but a lot more than what it was before they made that pit stop. Now, granted, you would expect Tyler to be able to close that gap, but look at this up front. Just as we had panned the camera away, changed for the lead after they cycle out. Jared Bundy gets around Jeff Marble. And you wonder if that's it for Jeff Marble or if he feels like there's enough laps where he's going to try to save a little something here. Could be a big win for really any of the playoff drivers, but either one of these two especially, as it would get them locked into the next round. And Jared Bundy, boy, how cool would that be if after last season, if he could make it to the championship for this season. And I always felt like as a driver, the hardest round to get to was from the round of 12 to the round of 8, because that's kind of where you start to separate the men from the boys in terms of the drivers that, you know, really are going to be kind of establishing a solid playoff run versus the drivers that maybe were able to get into the round of 16 and are just trying to sneak their way through from there. And so for Jared Bundy, this could be a huge swing of momentum in the right direction. And as it stands right now, he's going to be coming up on just, looks like 26 laps to go to try to hold off Jeff Marble to grab his second win of the season, first win of the playoffs. Keep an eye on that 48. Tyler Marble, talked about him continuing to slowly but surely close that gap. The distance between him and Jared Bundy right now is about 1.2 seconds, and it is closing. So if you're Bundy and Marble for this point, Jeff Marble that is, do you try to save a little tire here so that when that 48 gets to there, you got something to work with, or do you just stay aggressive? Can't forget about Jake Hickson. He now also finds himself in the mix. The rookie for Dynamic Autosports. Can he find a way to steal the win here tonight? Right now, he is the third of those three cars, single file leading the way. Tyler Marble, he is now within drafting range. He's going to start to really quickly pull up to the back bumper of these three. 25 laps to go. Still awaiting a few pit stops. Up front, though, it is currently Jeffrey Souza who leads the way again. This 96 machine has not made his final stop, at least not as of yet. John Mahalchuk in second for No Excuses Racing, getting some laps led here as well. As you see, he's got a little damage on the left side. And then Thomas O'Hara, another one of your playoff drivers. I think right now for Thomas, he is just really hoping, kind of banking, if you will, on a caution. A late one. Boy, that could really change the strategy here for the 07 in the right direction, but I just don't know if it's going to happen here with how spread out things have gotten. And then it's Scott Glasso back and forth right now, the last remaining driver who has yet to make his final pit stop. And once that cycles out, the lead will be handed over to Jared Bundy. The battle for second, Jeff Marble versus Jake Hickson, and what is soon to be another car adding to that mix. It's going to be Tyler Marble and maybe even Wesser Jr. and Michael Mueller. I mean, we keep getting more and more cars that are just making their way to the front, and we're setting ourselves up for what is going to be one crazy and exciting finish. For Tyler Marble here, this is do not make any mistakes. He knows that he's got the freshest tires of all these guys in front of him. The only problem is he needs to get close as soon as he can, because once you're close enough, that draft has a pretty good influence, so you don't have to try as hard in the corners. But if you start to slide back a little bit too far, then you have to worry about not getting as much draft down the straightaways, fading, and then having to work a little bit harder with those good years in the turn to try to catch up. And he's hit a little bit of a plateau right here, Tyler Marble that is, but I believe he is still slowly but surely reeling in the 16 of Jake Hickson, the 15 of Jeff Marble, and the 3 of Jared Bundy. More importantly, though, here we go. Jeff Marble, he has now started to close it back up on Jared Bundy. We wondered if the 15 was maybe trying to save a little tire here to have something for the finish. That might have been exactly what he was doing. Jeff Marble, we'll see what his lap times are looking like here over the course of the next few, but in fact, we can compare them as it stands right now. Here's Jared Bundy, and here's Jeff Marble. Let's see what it's comparing like. Right now, Jared Bundy has been better 3 of the last 5 laps. Jeff Marble, 2 of the last 5. So kind of a little bit of a trade-off. And Jared Bundy, You got to worry about that too. That's something we didn't really think about. But a lap car at a bad time. Jeff shut right there on the straightaway. Kind of helped out Bundy, but well, you catch a lap car on corner entry, corner exit as a leader, that can be a bad spot to catch him in, and can certainly lead to some issues in trying not to get passed for the lead. Jeff Marble, by the way, you hear the difference in setups. He's got it in 4th gear. Oh, what is this now? How about up front? Hearing some interesting strategy play as we just hopped on the onboard view there with Johnny Mahalchuk, and take a listen here as he gets down into turn 1. I hear a little bit of clutching. I think he's trying to save some fuel in this car right now. So as he gets into the turn, that time, no, he doesn't push the clutch in that time around. But let's listen into 3 here. And this is interesting because, you know, we talked about fuel being kind of close, and I was saying that on if you were just running this normally. But if you're really saving a lot of fuel the way Johnny Mahalchuk is doing here, it could get interesting. Maybe they can find a way to stretch this thing 19 laps. Boy, what a way to win it that would be. And we're talking about Johnny Mahalchuk, but you got to also consider Jeffrey Souza up here. Can he find a way to stretch it on fuel? That'd be another question as well. Man, this just adds another layer to the strategy play here tonight, and now you almost wonder if the leaders are going to start trying to push the pace even more, because maybe they're nervous that if one of those guys can make it on fuel, it's not going to matter how far back they are. Jared Bundy still able to fend off Jeff Marble. Tyler Marble has gotten around the 16 of Jake Hickson, and now he'll set his sight on the 2 playoff drivers battling for what would be the lead if everybody else pits. Jeff Marble, can he get clear here off of turn 4? Tries the slide job, but it's not going to work. Jeff Marble not able to get it. He gets tight, and now they'll have to drag race down the straightaway. Bundy's going to get the advantage back off into turn 1. Up ahead, there is a lap car. It might be the 4 of Scott Glasso. We'll see if this has any effect here. In fact, this will help the 3 of Jared Bundy, who had the momentum up top. Now he's going to pull a big draft down the straightaway. And you wonder if Jeff Marble maybe just used up a little bit too much of his stuff right here as he's tried to make a couple passes on the 3, and unfortunately, none of them have worked out, at least not as of yet. As the gearbox view here for Jeff Marble as he looks back out at his teammate, Tyler Marble, who currently sits in that 3rd spot. Or again, what would be that 3rd spot. Right now, officially currently sits in 6th. As Jeff's still trying that high side of the racetrack. And I can tell you, when you see these guys start to move up to the top like that, this is kind of the point where they're saying, okay, I feel like, you know, I've saved what I want to save. I'm going for it from here on out. If I get loose and get into the wall, well, at least I tried. Because once you commit to that high side, there's no really kind of uncommitting from it. I mean, you're trying to rip that wall for about as much speed as you can get. And then speaking of speed, 2 drivers who are really not going very fast at all are 2 of your leaders, especially Johnny Mahalchuk, who right now is trying everything in his power to see if he can make this thing stretch the fuel mileage. Yeah, this is him working through 3 and 4. It does look like, or sound like, maybe not saving as much as he was. And I think that could be a sign of a couple things. Either he feels like he is good on fuel, or it feels like no way he can make it, and there's no point in necessarily trying to save any more. Go back to the onboard view here for Jeff Marble because, man, I'm sitting here watching him on the side, and his hands are all over the place trying to keep this car together as he tries to continue to track down your leader, Jared Bundy. And now it almost sounds like the front's starting to scrub on entry to the corner. Watch for this car to swing tight over the course of the next few laps. When they cross the line this time, it'll be 15 laps to go. This time, Jeff Marble's going to dive it to the bottom. Is he going to commit to the slide job here? He thinks about it. Not going to commit. This time he'll just stay to the inside, try to hold as much momentum as he can. Looking to slide up, but here we go. Here comes the 48 of Tyler Marble. It's going to be a side-by-side drag race down the front stretch for the 2 Team Marble iRacing teammates. We'll have to see who gets the advantage here. Looks like it is going to be the 48 of Tyler Marble. Jeff will have to slide up and settle in. It's just not quite able to fend off the newer tires. And now the question is, what can Tyler Marble do with the 3 of Jared Bundy? Well, of course, he's got to get there first, but I would suspect he's going to just the next 2 or 3 laps, and he'll have plenty of time to set up how he wants to pass this 3 car. And so if you're Jared Bundy right now, again, asked this question, you know, probably 10 laps or so ago, but I'm going to say it again. Are you trying to save a little bit of tire? Oh, we got one spinning. Big wreck. Danny Gutierrez goes around. Caution is out. And that happened right in front of your leader. Big damage to the rear end of Danny Gutierrez. And in fact, we'll have to see if there's damage on the 3 of Bundy. Oh, man, there is. Jared Bundy is going to take it to the pits. And another race where Jared Bundy... Oh, that's huge damage on the front end. But another race in which Jared Bundy is leading, coming down to the end, and gets caught by lap traffic. Man. And now this is going to set us up for a late race restart. And let the chaos ensue. Okay, well, let's see what happens here. I think Danny Gutierrez had an issue ahead here. Because, yeah, you can see at that point the 08 had already been sideways out of control and spinning here. And it's going to happen, I think, just as he gets in the corner here. I think he's just going to lose it. As we'll play this here and go to the cockpit view. So this is... Watch Danny Gutierrez as he gets down into turn number 1 here. Gets into the corner. And it just snaps loose on him. Just gets loose, starts to go around. And if you remember Jared Bundy, he... Oh, man, that's a big hit. I was going to say, if you remember Bundy, who was committed to the top, although I don't think that was the first car that hit him here. I think there was 2 drivers that hit him. Let's watch this here. As the 08 slides, was his first contact the outside wall? That may have been what it was. Yeah, it's the outside wall here. And then, man, Jared Bundy, he sees it. He tried to go low. And that's right where the 08 slides into. And, oh, man, just cannot catch a break for the 3 of Jared Bundy. Nothing intentional, obviously, by Gutierrez. But, I mean, Jared Bundy has got to be fuming right now. And I can't blame him here. I mean, he is potentially 10 laps away from securing his spot into the round of 8. And now... he may be in a position where he's going to have to fight just to survive to the round of 8. Where's the onboard view? Let's give you a couple more shots of this here. A couple different angles from TV2. Man, that's a big hit. Destroys the front end of the 3 car and the rear end of the 8 car. Give you a couple more angles here. This is from TV1. Watch it for Jared Bundy. Oh, man, that's a big hit. That is going to change a lot of things around because now you take one of the most dominant cars of the night, take him out of the race, and that is going to shuffle some things up front. It'll be a restart with under 10 laps to go. Fitzgerald currently being scored as your leader. Ryan Haynes in second, Kenneth Bartholomew in third, Andrew Russo fourth, and Christian Losgen currently rounding out your top 5. Well, I know he's probably not going to be very happy, but, man, I want to hear some of the perspective. So let's see if we could bring up Jared Bundy here for a quick word on what just happened. And it looks like Jared currently not in any of the discords, so we will leave him alone for the moment. As he's trying to see here some of the other playoff drivers that we had sitting at the front right now. Austin Fitzgerald, but I know he's got to be getting ready to lock in here because he knows how important this restart's going to be. And, you know, it seems like he always finds a way, though, doesn't it? Earlier we talked about the 74. Maybe not calling his name as much as we're used to. Well, here we are at the end. He's got the track position, and now it's just going to be a question of can he find a way to hold on for whatever it's going to be here. Most likely 8, probably about 8 chaotic laps here at Kansas. And if you're just tuning in, you picked a great time to do so, as it is going to be a late race restart in the first race of the round of 12. Fitzgerald again being scored as your leader. Ryan Haynes is in second. Big opportunity here for Ryan Haynes as well. In spite of all the drivers who normally have pretty clean races having trouble here tonight, the 39 kind of the opposite. A lot of times with some struggles, but tonight he's been really consistent so far, and it's got him to the position he currently sits in. He's up 23 spots from where he started. And he's going to give him all he's got right here to see if he can potentially grab his first win of the season as well. So a lot of drivers that went in there to take fresh tires, not going to have a lot of time to utilize them. You're going to have to really kind of scrape and crawl to the front here as quick as you can. The 2 Team Marble iRacing teammates, they went in for fresh tires, as did a few others. So we're going to see what happens here. That strategy, by the way, you wondered how it would work out for guys like Johnny Mahalchuk, Jeffrey Souza. Well, Mahalchuk is still in the top 10. For Jeffrey Souza, though, currently sitting outside the top 10. So as they work down the backstretch here, everybody going to warm those tires up. Get the virtual seatbelts tight one more time. Again, it's going to be an 8-lap shootout to decide it. And don't forget, we've got to make it all the way to the white flag for this race to be official. And that is a long ways to go with how aggressive this restart's getting ready to be. Tyler Marble, Jeff Marble, talked about them. You're going to keep an eye on them because they're back in the 12th and 14th position. Again, a lot of positions to pick up if you want to get to the lead and not a lot of time to do it. The iRacing.com pace car pulls off, potentially for the final time. Here we go. Ryan Haynes and Austin Fitzgerald. Green flag is back in the air. 8 laps to go at Kansas, and it's a great restart. For the 74, Fitzgerald, he'll get off to the better jump, and he will lead him down into turn 1. Meanwhile, further back, the 72 Mahalchuk, he gets split out 3 wide. Now Jake Hickson caught in the middle of 3 wide. He's not going to have anywhere to go. Now he's going to try to shoot to the middle. Lodgton goes up top. Here comes Wesser Jr. and Quentin Clark on the bottom. And there's the 48 of Tyler Marble trying to dice through this field. Jeff Marble, he's going to get stuck on the outside. Nowhere to go. Now he goes to the middle. Andrew Russo caught in the middle. Zabak has to check up. Christian Lodgton up top as they are 3 wide off of turn 4. And that is exactly what Austin Fitzgerald wants to see. All the battling out back. The more they battle, the further away he can get. Jeff Marble going to try to shoot the gap here. 3 wide in the middle of Thomas O'Hara. Now he's going to have to go back up top. Wesser Jr. try to get to the bottom. He can't do it now. He'll get stuck in the middle. Go back to the blimp cam because they're almost 4 wide in a couple of spots. There's the 14 of Jeff Barnes. He's trying to work his way through the middle, as is the 99 of Michael Mueller. But up front, the 48, he's getting closer and closer. Tyler Marble is already up to 4th. And now he's going to try to split the gap here between the 16 of Jake Hickson and the 73 of Kenneth Bartholomew. Can he make it work? Yes, he does. Not going to be able to get around Hickson, at least not yet. And boy, you know that the Dynamic Autosports drivers are not going to make it easy on him. Boy, was that a close call right there. Tyler Marble almost got himself involved in an incident. Fitzgerald is going to lose the spot, loses a few actually, as now it's Jake Hickson who goes to the point. Has not won a race since the 2nd race of the season. And you know he's hungry here, and boy, he's going to have to fend off Tyler Marble here, who's got fresh tires as well. And they're 2 by 2 further back, and 3 wide still, all the way towards the back of the pack. And right there, Fitzgerald, you can see him on the right side of your screen just losing spots here, left and right. Nothing he can do. Certainly proven that fresh tires was the right call here at the end. And now, Jake Hickson going to be coming to 4 laps to go here and trying to hold off the 48. We're going to keep the views here for the rest of the way because this is going to determine which of your round of 12 drivers locks themselves in for the round of 8 first. Quentin Clark, by the way, not too far back, still within a second, and if these two tangle, that 00 could very well get up here and potentially steal one. And if you're Tyler Marble, this is where you've got to find a way to start searching around. Jake Hickson has the preferred line, and if you're Tyler Marble, you run up there, you're not going to quite have as much grip, but here we go. He's got to run. Will Hickson go to block? No, he won't. He'll stay on the top of the racetrack for now. Hickson doesn't want to give him the bottom, and he won't give it to him there that time. Tyler Marble's going to take another dive, trying kind of that wider arc on entry, going to dive it to the bottom. He'll look for a run down the backstretch. And he's got maybe a little bit of one, but not enough to get to the bumper. And you also ask the question, if Tyler Marble gets there, does he give just a little bit of a shot to this 16 car? Or does he try to get around him completely clean? This will be coming to 2 laps to go. Last lap for a caution if we're going to have one. Hickson still on point. Quentin Clark has closed it up just a little bit. He now sits just half a second behind the 2 leaders. Watch for Hickson here. Does he try to break the draft or does he stick up top? Looks like for now he'll stick up top. Tyler Marble gets another run, but again, it's not enough. The 48 trying to find a lane that he can carry a little bit more speed. He ducked and nose down. He got a great run doing this last time. He's going to try it again. Here we go. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go at Kansas, and they're side by side for the lead. Tyler Marble trying to slide clear the 16 before they get to turn 1, and he will do so. Now he's going to dive it down to the bottom of the racetrack. Jake Hickson trying to hold it even. The 48's going to slide up. Now they're going to make some contact. Watch for the run out back. Does Quentin Clark have something to get back to these 2? Quentin Clark, not enough, at least not yet. Final time into turn 3. Quentin Clark's going to go to the inside. Tyler Marble not going to be able to get back to the 16. They're bumping for second, but out in front. Look at this. Jake Hickson's going to get the win, and he will lock himself in to the round of 8. First win since Atlanta back in the spring, and boy, what a job he did. Got out in front and was able to hold on. Man, Kansas does not disappoint. What a race. Jake Hickson's going to bring it around here. He'll do a burnout. That's Jeff's going to be a pretty excited driver after that performance there, especially at the end of that one. As well, he burns it down here. We'll take a look at your finishing results. Again, grabbing the win here tonight for Dynamic Auto Sports, it's Jake Hickson. Tyler Marble brings home second, and it's Quentin Clark rounding out the podium. Johnny Mahalchuk finishes in fourth, and Jeff Marble rounds out your top 5. Ty Iopolito in 6th with Brian Conklin in 7th. Michael Mueller back in 8th with Jacob Musso in 9th, and Brandon Saylor rounding out your top 10. Thomas O'Hara finishes in 11th. Jeffrey Souza in 12th. It's going to be Jeff Barnes back in 13th with Cody Matthews in 14th. Austin Fitzgerald 15th, Kenneth Bartholomew in 16th. Mark Savak 17th with Matthew Gearinger back in 18th. And then rounding out your top 20 here tonight is going to be Ryan Haynes and Wes Hurd Jr. Back in 21st, it's Christian Lostian. Andrew Russo 22nd, Scott Glasso 23rd, Greg Bartlett 24th with Danny Gutierrez in 25th, Jeff Shutt 26th, Jared Bundy in 27th, and then you've got Kyle Oakley back in 28th, Alan Majari 29th, Tracy Powers rounding out the top 30, GT Hawkins 31st, Glenn Grigsby 32nd, and Anthony Hanley rounds out the field. He finishes in 33rd. All right, we're going to go see if we can grab your top 3 in here for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Kansas. All right, and we're going to start first here tonight with your race winner, Jake Hickson. Jake, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, loud and clear, Austin. How you doing tonight?
Good. Well, you grabbed the win, and what a time to do it. It had been a while since you found victory lane back to the second race of the season, but you grab one here tonight at Kansas, and boy, how's it feel?
Oh, it feels excellent. It feels excellent to get a win in the playoffs. Let me tell you, I'm so happy to get that win. That was a hard battle with Tyler, and that was a really fun race there at the end. So, yeah, no, it was really feels good to get the win tonight here at Kansas.
Well, yeah, you mentioned that you get the win in the playoffs, so that means, of course, you locked yourself into the round of 8. And, knowing that we're going to 2 tracks that are so chaotic next week, how does this kind of shift the mindset getting the win out of the way this early?
Well, for next week, Talladega, it's really just help a teammate out, right? I got 2 other teammates in the playoffs, so definitely going to try and be the pusher and get Ty or Austin the win so they can advance on just like I've done here tonight. And then for the next week in Vegas, I think it's or is it Homestead? Which one is it?
It's going to be for you talking about after next week, it'll be on to the Charlotte Roval.
Oh, Charlotte Roval. Okay, never mind. I'm definitely happy to get through this week because Charlotte Roval is definitely not one of my tracks. So I am really happy to get the win tonight for sure, Austin.
Oh man, hey, before we let you head out to celebrate and go celebrate with your teammates, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Thank you so much for the broadcast. You do a great job. It's so much fun to watch it. So thank you for what you do up there in the broadcast. I'd like to thank my teammates for helping out as always, and my friends and family back home, my wife especially for letting me do this, and my dad too. So thanks guys. Appreciate it.
Jake, thank you for talking to us again. Congrats on the win, and we'll see you next week at Talladega.
Thanks, Austin. Have a great night.
You as well. All right. Now that is going to bring us to your second place finisher here tonight. For Team Marble iRacing, it's Tyler Marble. Tyler, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
Well, you bring home a second place finish tonight, but I can tell from the voice, don't seem to be too happy with it. Tell us a little bit about that battle at the end, and if you wish there was anything you would have done different.
I don't know. Maybe not go all the way up and run in the back of Austin there. That's what screwed me. I don't do that. I'm closer to him. I probably get him. Other than that, I don't know. He wasn't giving that top up, and I tried driving in as deep as I can, and I got obviously just gonna get tight 1 and 2 in that last lap there, and it's just I wanted this one so bad. It's one of these places that I can't get the result that I should. So, but good run overall. Going to Talladega next weekend with a good cushion. Yeah, damn, this hurts.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, I know it doesn't work out tonight, but you mentioned Talladega next week, and I'm thinking about 2 weekends ahead when we head to the Charlotte Roval. You got to feel pretty good about there. Does that kind of help, maybe give you a little bit more comfort knowing that you got the second place finish tonight and knowing that you're going to a track that you're good at?
I'm not worried about Charlotte at the moment. Charlotte's in 2 weeks. It's not the Talladega. Let this one sink in. Cool off tomorrow with the Truck Series race, and then get ready to go for next week at Talladega. It's probably going to be a freaking free-for-all, so you got to survive for the teammates and hopefully be there at the end.
Sounds like a plan. Well, hey, Tyler, before we let you head out here tonight to wrap up a good finish, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, you for broadcasting, as always. Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist, Sim Racer Hub, Butt Kicker, Capital, DA Design, BMP, iRacing High Flag, and everybody watching, everybody racing in their league. Congrats to Hickson. It's been a long time coming for him to get his next win in the season. Have fun racing against him. Quanon, they raced me clean there at the end. Definitely could have gotten wrecked, or I could have wrecked myself, but yeah, I just like to thank everybody, and we'll move on.
And thank you for talking to us. Well, again, Tyler, congrats on the second place finish, and we'll see you next week.
And thank you.
All right, and now that is going to bring us to your third place finisher here on the night. It's the driver of the rookie for Riot Motorsports, Quentin Clark. Quentin, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Austin. Yeah, I got you, man.
Well, you bring home a good finish here tonight, a podium finish, and boy, you almost were able to get second there through 3 and 4. And in fact, I mean, Riot Motorsports as a whole had great speed here tonight. What was the difference?
I'm still sweating, man. We really focused this week on a long run setup. We've had a lot of good short runs and not a lot of good short run races. I knew this one might be a good short run race, and but we took our spring setup, the wind setup, and just tried to modify that one for the fall as much as we could to match this race. And the temps ended up being really hot anyways, so we're fortunate that it worked as well as it did. But just really focusing more on saving and trying to discipline ourselves a little bit more. It's something we're guilty of sometimes, and we like our short run setups for that reason, because sometimes it plays in our hand, and it just hasn't recently. So we're just trying something different.
And well, the difference certainly was noticeable here tonight with the good finish. And next week we head to Talladega, a team track. We're going to see a lot of drafting. How you feeling about your chances to get either you or your teammate potentially locked into the next round?
I was really hoping one of us could win, so whoever won could just focus on pushing the other one to a win. That's the ideal situation going into Talladega. It terrifies me. I know Mueller's good at road courses, so he'll probably be good at the Roval. I feel like I'll be average. We'll see, but I knew this was probably my better chance to get a decent finish, considering the win in the spring. So I was just really hoping to pull one out today, but I will take the podium. It's been far too long since I've gotten to talk to you, so I'm just thrilled to be here.
Absolutely. Well, hey, before we let you head out here tonight to prepare for next week, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, big shout out to my wife and my parents. My parents watch me every week. My wife watches the race whenever she can, if she's not putting her kiddo down to bed, so that I can do this. So big thanks to her. Huge thanks to Riot Motorsports, the guys. Mueller did a great job tonight. We both just worked a lot on this setup this week, and I'm glad that we have some results to show it. I wish he had a top 5 too, but we both, he was in front of me the whole race too, and drove a great race. Raz and Hanley were on and crew chiefing for us and spotting for us the whole race too, which is a big help and good to hang out with them. Big shout out to Groovy Divine. Follow them on TikTok, boutique store. It's my sister-in-law's store, and she does live shows, and she was on tonight, so I had to run the paint scheme tonight. Jimmy Beats World's on Twitch, Bonfire on Spotify, Mach 5 Design for the beautiful paint scheme. Always got to shout out Sim Coaches, and I'm going to put Mueller's sponsor in there too, Bolify. Use code Mueller300 at checkout for 10% off. Did I get them all?
I think so. And hey, man, thank you for talking to us again. Congrats on the third place finish, and we will see you next week at Talladega.
Appreciate you, man, so much. Great job broadcasting every week. Thank you for all you do.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our coverage here tonight from Kansas. And again, just did not disappoint. Kansas last season, Kansas this season. I've loved every single one of them so far. And tonight, the victorious driver is Jake Hickson. We know we'll see him in the round of 8. Question's going to be who else can get themselves locked in next week at Talladega. As always, thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. That's it for me, Austin Green, here on Ghost Racing Network. And until next time, have a good night.